everybody, welcome back to Happy Bake Day, where every day is a happy bake day. I hope your baked crispy hot honey chicken from last week, where we used Beef Friends Farm jalapeno creamed honey, turned out crunchy and fabulous. If you missed that episode, of course, you can check it out right here. Today we are going to be making a delicious dessert that's going to have a super fun summer twist. We're going to be making a strawberry crunch tres leches cake. Now this cake will be made in a few different parts. Part 1 is going to be making the cake itself. Part 2 is going to be making that delicious strawberry crunch topping. Part 3 is going to be making the milk mixture that goes over the top of the cake. And then the final part is the delicious whipped topping that covers the top of the cake. First, we're going to be making the cake itself. And for that, you're going to need the following ingredients. 1.5 cups all-purpose flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter at room temperature, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 5 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3 teaspoons of strawberry bakery emulsion, optional, and red or pink gel food coloring, also optional. Our first step is to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. With our oven preheating, I have here the flour, the baking powder, and the salt. We're going to combine everything into one bowl and mix it until it's well combined, and then we're going to set our bowl aside.
I'm 1,000 miles away from home, just waiting for a train.
For this next step, I have pulled out my stand mixer with the paddle attachment. You're going to add your butter to the bowl of the stand mixer and mix it on medium to medium-high speed until the butter is really light and fluffy. After that, you're going to slowly add in your sugar and again mix until it's really well combined and starts to become kind of pale in color and still light and fluffy. After that, go ahead and add in your eggs, your emulsion, your vanilla, and just a little bit of your food coloring if you want, and mix until well combined. Then you will slowly add in your dry ingredients, a third at a time, and once they have been fully combined, stop mixing. Now that my cake batter is done, I'm going to pour it into a greased 13x9 ceramic baking dish. I'm going to use my silicone spatula to make sure it's evenly spread across the bottom of the pan, and then this will be ready for baking. Our oven has preheated, our cake batter is done. This is ready for baking. You're going to bake your cake in the oven for anywhere between 25 to 35 minutes or until a cake tester inserted right into the center of your cake comes out clean. Once your cake is done, take it out of the oven and allow it to cool completely down to room temperature. Our cake has finished baking and I have mine cooling off in the background here. I did leave my oven on and still preheated to 350 degrees. We are going to use it again. The next step is to make our strawberry crunch topping. You're going to need the following ingredients in order to make this delicious crunchy topping. 24 golden Oreos, 1 3-ounce box of strawberry jello, and 1/4 cup of salted butter melted. For this next step, I've pulled out my food processor. What we're going to do is add all of our Oreos into the food processor and pulse until small crumbs form. You don't need to powder them, you don't need to completely pulverize these things, but you do want some really small crumbs. After that, add your Oreos back into a large mixing bowl, and you're going to also add in your jello powder as well as the melted butter and mix until everything is well combined. baking tray and I lined it with some parchment paper. We're going to spread our strawberry crunch topping onto the baking tray in a very thin layer. After that, this is ready for baking. You're going to bake it in your preheated oven. Remember, we left it on 350 after we baked our cake. You're going to bake it for 7 to 9 minutes or until you see it start to dry out. Pull it out of the oven and allow it to cool completely on your baking tray. As it cools, your strawberry crunch topping will start to harden and get that classic crunchy texture. Once it's completely dried and cooled off, what you can do is crumble it up and seal it in an airtight container, and we're going to use the rest of it later.
My heart is full of dreams. I'm 1,000 miles away from home, just waiting for a train. But my pocket's full is empty.
Our cake has finished cooling down and our strawberry crunch topping is done and sealed in an airtight container. So our next step is to make our amazingly creamy milk mixture. Now for that, you're going to need the following ingredients. 1 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, and 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. We're going to take all 3 milks and add them to our mixing bowl. We're going to whisk it all together until it's well combined. After that, we're going to take our completely cooled cake and poke holes all over the top of the cake. After that, you can pour your milk mixture across the top of the cake and use a silicone spatula to help spread the milk not only across the top, but over all of the sides as well. After that, completely cover the top of the cake with some aluminum foil and put it in your refrigerator for resting. It's going to need to rest in your refrigerator for at least 3 hours, or I suggest doing it overnight so that way your milk mixture completely absorbs and gets soaked into the cake.
My heart is full of dreams. I'm 1,000 miles away from home, just waiting for a train.
Alright, so it's been about 4 hours since the cake has been in the refrigerator. The milk mixture has completely soaked into the cake, and now we are ready to make the delicious whipped topping. For that, you're going to need the following ingredients. 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream, 1/4 cup powdered sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. For this step, I've pulled out my hand mixer. I've placed my cream in a large bowl, and what we're going to do is combine the cream with our powdered sugar and our vanilla. We're going to whip it until nice stiff peaks form, and then it'll be ready for use. You're going to put it on top of your cake, and you're going to evenly spread it and coat the whole thing in one nice layer. Our strawberry crunch tres leches cake is ready to be served. If you have noticed, I did not add my strawberry crunch topping to my cake just yet. I do recommend sprinkling some on each piece as you serve it. That way the strawberry crunch doesn't get mushy and soggy just sitting on top of the cake, especially if you aren't eating it the same day. Thank you so much for joining me today while we made this amazing strawberry crunch tres leches cake. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you had fun baking with me today. I appreciate each and every single subscriber as you join me on this journey from banker to baker. You can also visit my website or follow me on social media for this and all of my other great recipes. Until next time, I hope you have a very happy bake day.